Hello, I am Bianca, and I'm here with my partner Lindsay, and we are going to talk about our code. It's a story code, sort of, and we based it off of the Princess Bride movie. So yeah, this is basically how it works, what happens in it. It tells you, it explains what you will do. You have to select, it will give you questions and you have to select the right option, and you will get points depending on how many times it takes you to get to the right part that will lead to the happy ending. It will tell you a piece of the story right here, and then it will go into a function down here, such as this function, where it will tell you, it will ask you a question and you need to choose an answer, and using a while loop so that it will make you keep answering the question until you get it right, and if-else statements, and that's how it is done. If you get it right, then it will add 3 points using a nested if-else statement, and will add 3 points. But for each other time that it takes you, it will subtract 1 point. So say that it takes you 2 tries to get the right answer, then you will only get 2 points instead of 3 if you got it on the first time. And then if it takes you 3 tries, you will only get 1 point, as shown down here. And any more than that, you will just get no points for that question. It just asks you the question and adds up the points, and then it goes back to the next part, and it will tell you more of the story, and it just continues on to the end. And we have 6 questions that will lead to the end of the story. So the way that this is done is with 2-dimensional arrays. We use this to store the answers and a counter so that you can get through it all, and it adds up your points. And here is the function prototype for all 6 of our questions. It will send in the 2-dimensional array and an integer that we used to help add up the points. We send in this integer right here, total points. That's the one we sent in. Oh, and at the very end, it will tell you the amount of points that you got. So here is our first question and the function. The function header with the 2-dimensional array and the integer that we sent in. Then we define another integer. This one's called point. It also helps add up your points. And it asks the question, then it goes to a while loop where there is an expression. And yeah, that's basically it. Okay, so now I will run it so you can sort of play where you are. Alright, so this is the story of the Princess Bride. You must continue the story so that there is a happy ending. If you select the right option on the first try, then you will get 3 points. For every other try it will subtract 1 point from the amount you earn. There once was a farm boy named Westley and a girl named Buttercup. Westley worked for Buttercup, and after some time they fell in love with each other. An amazing opportunity reveals itself to Westley to travel to America so that he can make more money for him and Buttercup to get married. What should Westley do? So let's say when he takes the opportunity. So That was the right answer. Sadly, the ship he was on was raided by the dread pirate Roberts, and word got back to Wesley he was murdered. In sadness, Buttercup vowed to never love again. Some time later, though, Prince Humperdinck, next in line to the throne, came to Buttercup's farm and thought her beautiful. He demands her to come back to the palace and marry him so that he can become a king since his father is dying. What should Buttercup do? All right, let's say 1 again. She refuses and stays on the farm. Unfortunately, that was the wrong answer. So this is what happens when there is a wrong answer. It will give you another alternative ending, which is a bad ending. It ends badly, and then it will just ask you to answer the question again until you get the right one. So Herlonius consumes her, and she lives the rest of her days in misery while the kingdom falls to pieces when the king dies. Can you pick a better outcome? Okay, so let's do 3 this time. She sadly accepts for the good of her country. Well, that was the right answer. All right, so now let's just get to the end real quick so that you can see what happens there. Alright, so this is what happens. Since we got all of them right, and it took 2 tries on one of the questions, that's why we are down a point. See, this is our amount of points out of 18. 18 is the highest, and we got a 17 because it took 2 tries on one of them. So, the pros and cons of this program, there aren't a lot, but here are some. The cons is that the program doesn't let the users to have a story that branches off. So, here, let me try to explain it. Like, instead of the ending, if you get it wrong, it just ends and then you need to re-answer the question. It will actually go off into a different storyline where different outcomes happen. Yes, we couldn't do that, which is a con. And also, another con is that it is really long and it took a while to program. It's over 400 lines of code right now. An upside to it, though, is that it has a point system so that you can see how well you did and try to add up how many tries it took you without reading through it all the way. And it also explains the plot line for from a well-known movie, so it's based off of something that lots of people like, which is a pro. Some of the problems that we have with this code is that one of the lines of code kept repeating over and over again, and it wouldn't let you get out. We then fixed it with a break statement until we fixed it again by spacing it better. So yeah, another problem was that the number of points always displayed 0 at the end. So where this is, wait, nope, wrong part. So where this is right here, where it tells you your total amount of points is out of 18 is blank. Yeah, it kept saying 0 for the total amount of points you had, even though you should have gotten more points than that. We then fixed it by doing total points right here. We forgot to add that in in the beginning, and then when we did add that in, it worked a lot better. It worked all the way, actually. So yeah, if we could do this program again, then I think we would try to come up with an original story, one that we didn't just copy off of a movie, rip off of a movie, and we would try to branch it off into the different stories, so that it's more of a user-driven story, and it will go off into different directions and different outcomes can happen. Sort of like one of those books where it tells you to like go to page 404 and then it will like continue the story, or depending on what you answer, it will either say go to page like 102 or 367, one of those ones. So yeah, and that's it. Hope you liked our code. Bye.